Welcome back, Weather Kingdom. In this update, we are going to be taking a look at deep into the tropics, as we got at least one more area to watch in the Atlantic, and you might not guess it, but yes, it's in the region where we are all been concerned about, and that is the Caribbean. Right in here, you guys, we are going to be expecting some potential development into later next week, especially in the central and western parts of the Caribbean, where the conditions are more than just ideal. Record-breaking water temperatures, ocean heat content, also the lowest wind shear ever recorded in the Caribbean. Very, very ideal conditions, no shear, and very likely of some big issues to come. When we take a look at where this wave currently stands, is about right in here. This is our wave where we stand, and generally the conditions out in the main development region are starting to become less and less conducive for development. So this wave would generally drag all the way into these islands here before any chance of development. If I had to say where development will be more likely, is anywhere from here to about here. This is where I think development will be, with at least 10% in the next 5 days, and potentially in the next 7 days, 20. So I'll say 10 to 20% generally as of right now. Nothing too much. I'm not going to go hype it up or anything. But we are going to be taking a look at some. First, I want to take a look at the water temperatures. And here are the water temperatures. For this time of year, it is an extremely above average in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, where we are generally, even still parts in the Gulf, generally around 29 to 30 degrees Celsius. In the entire Caribbean, we are running about 30 degrees Celsius, even into the deep tropics still, into pretty much here. This is all of it, 30 degrees Celsius. This is about 88 plus degree water temperatures, and the darker colors are probably 30.5, and this color generally right. So let me just quickly do that. So about in this extra coloring right here, if you do not see it, and right here is about 30.5. Okay, that's about 30.5 degrees Celsius in the Caribbean. And then we even have some spots here near the Jamaica, north of Jamaica, some of these islands near Dominica. We are running about 31 degrees Celsius, where that is 90 degrees water temperatures. So an extremely above average, pretty intense and pretty crazy. When we take a look at the CDAS, sea surface anomalies on record base, the entire Gulf of Mexico is running about 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above average, some even around 4 degrees above average. How can we notice is right here when we take a look at the anomalies here. That's the Gulf of Mexico. Generally, I would say 2 degrees Celsius above average. When we talk about the Caribbean, now it's even more concerning, where generally the Caribbean is running at least 2 to even 3 degrees Celsius. In some spots, you're talking about even there, like right here, I just circled just north of Jamaica. You're talking about potentially 4 to even 5 degrees Celsius above average water temperatures. So very concerning water temperatures in the Caribbean. Also, another thing is the shear. How's the shear? And yeah, this is Caribbean's general shear right now. And look where we are. We are right here, you guys. The lowest you can get. You're talking about 15 knots of shear. That's it in the entire Caribbean. We should be talking about more like 20 to 30 knots of shear, and much more shear in the Caribbean. But we are actually running way below average. In fact, we even decreased even a little bit more. We're generally on a decrease still with some shear, the lowest shear yet. So pretty intense, pretty crazy. And this is going to be very interesting how this winter continues to show. If we stay kind of generally like this on the low end, this will mean some very big issues potentially into next year, depending on the Enzo region. Okay? And this is the map of generally the shear right now. And like I said, the parts, even the Gulf, I mean, look at this. The entire Caribbean, especially the western part, is running about 10 degrees, 10 knots of shear. 10, maybe 15 in local spots, but generally the lowest shear I ever seen recording in the Caribbean with the tropics. All right? So that's your current look at things in the Caribbean. Now I want to take a look at more of the bigger stuff. They don't have anything in the next 7 days, but I do expect in the next couple days we will get an X probably around here. And they'll probably have an arrow generally like this. And then a 20% right here. I'll say this will be by potentially tomorrow or tomorrow night. Generally a 20% in the Caribbean. And this could be a big storm, you guys. If it does get and makes it into the Caribbean pretty healthy, I want to take a look at some ensembles before we take a look at models. So this is your European ensembles, and yeah, there's quite a bit of support. Pretty much the storm will be generally a low rider, anywhere from Barbados and south, okay? And generally we do have ensemble support, some going north a little quicker than others, and these kind of staying like this. So this is kind of your room here. Some of them are even into category 5, category 3 strength, and then you got some of them into weak tropical storm. So this is kind of going to be a tough situation if this wave makes it far enough north and actually survives. Then we are going to be talking about some big issues. When we take a look at the GEFS, and this is all over the place, but we do see some pretty good members when they make that turn. You're talking about potentially Cat 1 to Category 3 hurricane strength in the Caribbean. So that is some alarming things with the ensembles. Also, this is some of the AI showing, you know, Category 5, Category 4, Category 3. And this could be a very big issue as the AI models have done very well this year in the Caribbean. And I'm really going to like to see how this evolves in the next couple days. Okay? Now, when we take a look at the next ensembles is GENC. And generally, we do have some ensemble support right in here. Not too many, but this one's been picking it up even more. And most of these ensembles do like that favorability in the Caribbean. Okay? One other thing I want to take a look at is the models. I'm not going to really dive deep into this update with the track and everything because this is like kind of a broad statement and kind of some facts with it. Kind of just showing you the general area to watch in the Atlantic and what else we should be watching out for. So this is the 12Z. I'm not doing the 18Z because the 18Z shows some weird situation. And even Eric Webb said like a little joke, what is the GFS inhaling in the 18Z? So I'm not going to show it. I asked some of my weather crew and they agreed to just do 12Z where it makes more sense. 18Z has some uncertainty of why it's showing you like that. And it didn't completely make sense. But this is the 12Z. And it does show a weak tropical wave that never really gets to develop in the next 4 days. I mean, this is about 5 days out. And generally, this wave on the GFS this is the wave right here. Really nothing. So even making it to the islands, I think we're okay making it to the islands as of right now. I like to see how this evolves. But GFS more likes this around the 7-day mark. In the Central Caribbean, it really does start to spin. And it does kind of go into the Dominica, makes landfall into the Bahamas, and then kind of does this weird situation there. But then it shows kind of another spin here in the Caribbean that happens that I'm not really buying for. But in this case scenario on the 12Z, it does show a quick major hurricane making landfall into these islands where you go from a 965 to a 959 in just a moment. This is because of that cold front and that trough angle. This will bring some major impacts to some of these islands here. This is very far out, though. This is about, making landfall is about 10 days out. So take this with a grain of salt, but it's been showing since days ago. It's been showing these case scenarios where it does these major hurricane scenarios all over the place in the Caribbean, but it does show a storm. Then when we take a look at the Canadian, likes the idea of the storm to develop a little bit faster, makes it into the Caribbean, actually becomes a major hurricane too in the central Caribbean before it looks like it's about to start turning to the north around Jamaica. So, and the Canadian's been showing this too, of this consistency. When we take a look at the European, it also likes to show some pretty good development here. I'm taking it with a grain of salt. This is all with a grain of salt. I like to see how this continues to evolve in the next couple of days. But it generally does what the GFS does. Develops it, though, a little bit later and a little bit slower, but still south of Jamaica. And we're talking about a hurricane slamming into these islands right here into Mexico, and then kind of going north and then doing like a Hurricane Ian type thing. Stays a category 2 and makes landfall right near Tampa. Take this with a grain of salt. This is the European though, and then it kind of has it riding up the East Coast type of deal. So that's about it. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's about it. There's not that much else to talk about in the Atlantic. That's just one of the updates that I really wanted to show you guys, give you guys my foundation on it. I'm not going to make any new forecasts on it. We'll have to see how this evolves in the next coming days. I have a video tomorrow night. No live stream tomorrow night. Probably another video like this. Hope you guys like this, and please like and subscribe. Share with your friends and family, and see you guys in the next one. Peace out.